Brr. It is so cold out here right now. Gosh, it's so funny because last week we had a ton of rain, but it was warm outside. And this week it's freezing cold with tons of rain. We're working in the shop this week and it's cold. So hopefully I am not shivering the whole time we are working on our projects today. We have something so exciting to share with y'all. We got a new tool and I can hardly wait to start playing with this. So I want to thank XTools for sponsoring today's video. Hello my darling friends, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited y'all are here today. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is going to be fun. We're going to have some fun today. Michael and I finally got a laser cutter. We have been wanting one for so long, and XTools was kind enough to send us one to try out, to play with, to experiment and see what we think. So today we're going to spend some time unboxing our brand new laser cutter. This is a laser cutter. It engraves and it also cuts vinyl. So I'm very excited to go try out all these features. So y'all, let's go unbox our brand new XTools M1 cutting machine and have some fun playing. You know that feeling that you get on Christmas morning when you're just so excited about a certain present that you're giving to someone, or just that in general giddy feeling that you get on Christmas morning. Well, this was Michael and I when we got our laser cutter in the mail. We were both so excited. It truly just felt like the most magical Christmas morning to us. We had so much fun unboxing this together. And I have to say, boy, does XTools know how to package a box. This thing was so well packed. Everything was nice and tight. There was no chance this was going to get destroyed unless it literally got run over by a Mack truck. But again, we are just having so much fun unboxing this, and I was so impressed with how well everything was packed. And here we are unboxing the this is the air filtration system, the clean air filtration system. So if you're like us and don't have a window in your shop area, this is a great addition to your laser cutter because it filters all the smoke out of the air and you don't have to filter it out a window. So after reading the instruction book, it was time to start setting everything up. The setup on this, y'all, was so very easy. It came with very clear instructions, step-by-step instructions, and everything went together very, very smoothly. So as long as you're reading your instructions really well, the setup for this is so simple. So we just started by setting up or installing all of the pieces and the parts for our filtration system. I have to tell y'all, I am very, very impressed with all of the materials. All these materials have been very high quality, and the parts and the pieces that we need to install these were also all included. So we actually didn't have to have a single tool to do this. They even included the screwdriver. And these clamps that came with the hose for the filtration system, I loved these. These were so easy to install. It made the installation process very, very simple. And you did have to have a little bit of a strong hand to grip that, but again, I had Michael, so that was a bonus for me because he is pretty strong. They did only send us one of those grippy kind of clamps though, so we did have this screw clamp or pipe clamp type clamp for the other end that went into our actual filter. But again, that was also super easy. And here Michael is just using the screwdriver to do this that they provided. One of the things that impressed me so much about the M1 is the fact that it can also cut vinyl. So here Michael is just installing the blade into the blade housing, and it was so easy to do. You literally just push a little button on the bottom, pop the blade in, and voila. It's so simple, just like that. And then to adjust the blade height, you just twist the end thing here like this, and installing it into the machine was just as simple. It's actually a magnetic piece that just grabbed this the minute we kind of started putting it up there. So it's a pretty strong magnet, and so it just literally grabbed the blade and in it went, just like that. So very simple. When you purchase the M1, it comes with these metal triangular risers, and to install them, you literally just lay them in any pattern that you so choose. I think eventually Michael and I probably will get the honeycomb riser. I just think it has a lot more benefits to it. So then after we did that, it was just time to start plugging everything in, getting it connected to our computer so that we could install the software. This step was so easy, and I love how our setup is, although it took up the workbench. So I think eventually we're going to have to build a separate little roll around cart for our cutter and the filter. Now that we have our machine all unboxed, we can start playing. The setup on this was so simple, y'all. Everything was laid out very clearly in the instructions, and the software was very easy to install. XTools gives you step-by-step instructions for the software installation, and their creative space is wonderful. I love it. It's super easy. It's very user-friendly. It's very straightforward. So we really liked that aspect of their creative space. So now we're going to go ahead and start playing around. We're just going to do some experimenting with settings. We have never used a laser cutter before, ever, a day in our lives. So this is a very brand new experience for us. So we're just going to work on a couple of things. They sent us a few fun sample materials to play with. So we're just going to go start working on something very simple just to kind of get to know our machine a little. Okay, y'all, so at this point, I am just feeling so giddy. This is the very first cut that we have ever created on a laser cutter, and it just made us both feel so excited. We literally were just mesmerized watching the laser cutter cut out these cute little letters that just say hello, and then we just threw some shapes in there because we are literally just playing at this point and learning and experimenting and getting to know our machine a little bit. We're getting acquainted with the machine, getting to understand how the software works and settings and whatnot. The settings were a little bit tricky, but we will get that figured out. So for right now, we were just kind of playing and having a good time, and it really was a very, very satisfying experience watching this laser just cut through this piece of wood. Okay, so our first cut went really, really well. However, it's because we used all of XTools pre-settings for the sample piece of basswood that they sent to us. So it worked really well. However, when we started to create our own project, my very first one, not so well. It's definitely a learning curve. We definitely need to get all of our settings dialed in for our specific material that we are using. So here Michael and I are still just getting acquainted with the machine. We've been playing around with settings, and we created a design in one of our external design spaces, and then when we exported it from that, we didn't export correctly. We exported it as a PNG, or one of them I think was even a JPEG. So when we imported them into XTools Creative Space, it did not work very well. We were getting these very strange, jaggedy, crazy lines. So what we discovered is if you're using Canva, which is what I use to create one of these, is you need to export in an SVG file. Or I can't remember what program Michael was using, but he exported in a DXF format, and that did correct the issue of us getting these squiggly lines. The other issue we had here is I just still did not have the settings set quite right. We got a lot of burning, scorching on the wood, plus things didn't pop out. They didn't cut quite as crisp and clean as I had hoped that they would. The outer circle cut or popped out pretty well. The inner circles not so much, and I got a lot of splintering in my wood. I definitely feel like this is a big learning curve, but once you get it nailed and once you get your settings figured out, we're going to create an amazing product. So it's just a matter of learning, getting to know the machine, and figuring things out as we go.
So if you are a very experienced laser cutter person, you are probably laughing at us right now. This is our very first cut, and you can see it didn't work out so well. We got a lot of squiggly lines, and we discovered it's because of the way we exported. So we used our own design space to create some patterns, and when we exported it, we didn't export. We learned that the SGV file, or the DXF, I hope I said that right. I'll have it in the description box for y'all though, were the best ways for us to export these to get nice, good, crisp, sharp, clean edges on all of our cuts. So after playing with the settings a little bit more, we second cut this one, and I think I just had everything set to strong or something because we got lots of burning on this one, but the edges were cut a lot cleaner. There's no squiggly lines. And then on this one, I went too far in the opposite direction and it just didn't cut all the way through. So it's definitely a learning curve, but we're having fun. I think we've got this dialed in, so let's go create a really fun project that I'm looking forward to making for my studio.
So I wanted to show y'all a little bit of XTools Creative Space. This isn't necessarily going to be a full tutorial on how to use their Creative Space because I'm going through this very, very, very fast. So I created this cute little paint palette in Canva, exported from Canva, and then imported it into XTools Creative Space. This is an SVG file. But then while I was in XTools Creative Space, I was able to do quite a bit of editing. So I did not want those holes in there. I was able to delete them and then put my own in because I needed these to be a very specific size, and you'll kind of see why in a little bit. I have some special little paint palette dishes that are going to fit in these. So the holes needed to be a very specific size, and I was able to create those in XTools Design Space to the exact measurements that I needed them, the exact diameter. So I've gone ahead and placed them in my cute little palette the way I want. And then I went ahead and brought in a couple of paint brushes that I want to engrave into the center of this. So I went ahead and created different layers for the paint brushes because the paint brushes are going to be engraved versus the palette itself is going to actually be cut. And I was able to do that in the design space. It did take me a little bit to figure out the layers, and if y'all are interested, I would be very happy, more than happy, to do a very slowed down tutorial version of XTools Creative Space for y'all. Just let me know in the comments and I will be happy to do that for you. So here I'm just going to continue designing, bringing in my palette, getting everything situated on the wood. One of the things that I am loving about the M1 is the camera. So the M1 has a camera on the inside that shows you your piece of wood. So the piece of wood that you see here is actually what I have in the machine, and this is what I'm going to cut on. I love that because then I know exactly where to place my design. So back to the paintbrushes, I was able to create them in their very, very own layer so that I can adjust them and size them to the center of my paint palette here. And again, the paintbrushes are going to be engraved, and then the exterior of the paint palette is going to be cut, as well as the cute little circles on the inside. So at this point, I'm just having a little bit of fun playing with my design here and repositioning the paintbrushes to just kind of get them positioned inside the palette exactly the way that I want them. And once I did that, I was able to come back in and set the engraving settings for the paintbrushes and then the cut settings for the actual palette itself. Once I had those settings hit, I did send it into the processor. I almost hit go and realized, oops, I've got double lines on my palette. So I brought it back into the creative space, did a trace on this. I was able to trace that palette just so I could get one single line, which really made all the difference in the world. So now you can see here where I've done the trace, and I'll go back in and delete that double lined palette. And now I just have a single line palette. So I'm only going to get one cut on this, and then we will be able, now we're ready to reset our settings and go ahead and start processing this. We'll send it from the creative space to the laser cutter, and the laser cutter will do all the work. I love this. It's amazing to me how laser cutters can cut through wood. I had to have Michael explain the whole process to me because at first I was like, I really have no idea how this is working, but it is so much fun. And yes, I could have cut this out on my scroll saw, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near as clean a cut as we got with the laser. So now we are ready to go ahead and start processing this design. So I've sent it to the laser cutter. It's going to do its thing, and this is so amazing to me. It just fascinates me. I'm just mesmerized by how this laser is cutting through the wood. So you can see here, I've sort of dialed in my settings. I've got a much cleaner cut on this. This is after 2 passes, and I did do 3 passes on this one. I probably could have got away with 2, but I just wanted to make sure. And as I pulled it out of the laser cutter, I was so excited because it was a beautiful cut. It cut all the way through the wood. It popped out perfectly. I got no splintering, no rough edges on this whatsoever. It's just a beautiful, beautiful cut. So I'm ready to go ahead and send the next piece into the cutter to create the top part of our cute little palette here.
Okay, y'all, so I'm super excited. We finally got settings dialed in for this particular project, and it's turning out great. I love how it cut. I'm excited. So now we can go ahead and put some finishing touches to our cute little paint palette that we have created.
Okay, y'all, so we have all of our pieces cut out, and oh, look at this. I am so happy with how this turned out. The engraved brushes look really good. I did get a little bit of scorching on the back side, but we're going to glue these 2 pieces together so you will never ever see that. So I'm using some wood glue to glue these 2 pieces together so that my little paint palette dishes will have a little place to sit without falling all the way through. So that's what this backing piece is going to be for. So I am using the glue on the top piece so I can get it around those little circles, and then I will come in with my brush and spread that glue really smooth and thin. This kind of helps eliminate a lot of that squeeze out that you get when you do a glue up. So I'm going to do this process, and then I'll go grab some clamps. We'll get this clamped up and then let this glue set for about 1.5 hours to 2 hours so that it's completely set up so that we can move on to our next steps. after I got the clamps set into place, I did get a teeny tiny bit of squeeze out with my glue. So to clean that up, I'm just going to come in with a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol. And this cleaned up everything splendidly. It even cleaned up some of the scorch marks that I had, which weren't a whole lot. There were very few scorch marks on this cut because I finally got my cut settings just right. So, but anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit, and then I will leave it for a couple hours, let that glue completely set up so that we can move on to finishing this paint palette and making it look super, super cute. I cannot wait. I'm so excited about this. Okay, so we have let this sit for a couple of hours. Now I can come in and remove the clamps. I feel pretty good that that glue has completely set. This wood glue dries relatively fast. And it's looking really good, y'all. I probably better do a little cleanup here. I'm not sure why I have to clean as I go. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe not. Oh, and while the glue was setting on our palette, I did cut this cute little bird out. We do have a fun plan for this bird in a coming video. I've got a Mother's Day video coming up, so y'all be on the lookout for that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and stain our cute little paint palette here, and I am just using some Waverly antiquing wax to do this. I did water it down just a little bit to give it more of that stain finish, and then I will brush it onto my palette. I tend to brush a small area, and then I come in with a clean paper towel, wipe it down a little bit, and this is what's going to give it that really pretty stained look. As I am doing this though, I am trying to be very, very careful not to get any of that stain on my edges, because I kind of like the black edges that the laser cutter left on this. So I don't really want to cover those with stain because I really like the contrast of this. So here I have brushed on a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and wipe it clean, and you can see how it just leaves that really beautiful stained finish to our paint palette. And I am doing the same thing inside all of the little holes too. I thought about doing these in different colors, and then at the end I was like, no, I just want this to be one solid color. Do y'all enjoy this process? Do you enjoy painting and staining your projects? Sometimes I really do. Sometimes I have pieces that it's just very satisfying to me. And then other times I'm just like, this is a mundane chore. But with this particular piece, I was really enjoying staining it. I did stain both front and back of this. And again, I was trying to be very careful not to get any stain on those edges. I did get a little bit in one spot and then quickly wiped it off. I love how this looks. I think the contrast of those black edges looks really beautiful with this antiquing stain. Okay, so I've left our stain to dry pretty good. It's pretty well dried here, and so I just was getting a little impatient and couldn't wait to put our little paint palette cups in this. And then again, here I go cleaning up. I am notorious for cleaning as I go, and I don't know. I guess it's a good thing. It makes me efficient, I think.
All right, y'all. So all in all, I am very happy with how this turned out. Once I got the settings dialed in, we got a really good piece, and I love it. I love how it fits so nicely in my hand. If I'm actually working on an acrylic piece and my canvas is in the easel, I can actually stand and hold this, and it's very comfortable in my hand. There are no sharp edges. I didn't have to do any sanding on this. Once I got those settings dialed in, it cut so nice and clean and smooth, and I literally did no sanding on this. I took it straight out of the cutter, glued them together and stained it. And just like that, I've got a fun, cute little palette. Our engraving turned out really good. I'm very happy with that. There's a little bit of a weird spot right there, but again, I think that's user error. Well, I know it's user error. So all in all though, I think I'm very, very happy with how our cute little palette turned out. Alrighty, my dear friends, that is it for today. I really hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I had a blast. I had so much fun playing with this new laser cutter, and I know Michael and I are going to have a blast working on so many projects in the future. We've already got a long list of things we want to create with our laser cutter. If y'all are in the market for a laser cutter, I do highly recommend this one. This is the XTool M1, and it is such an easy machine to use. It's very learnable, it's easy, it's approachable, and I think my favorite feature about this one is the camera on the inside. I definitely love being able to have that camera that shows exactly where the wood placement is so that when you're in the creative space, you know exactly where to set your design. That is probably my favorite feature of this machine. XTool has given me a discount code if y'all are interested in purchasing one for yourself, and that code will be listed in the description box for y'all. Thank you, my darling friends, for being here today. I appreciate y'all so much. I appreciate your support on my channel. And first of all and foremost, I appreciate each and every single one of you. I love our time together and I love our interactions together. So y'all, leave me comments down below because that is my favorite part of the whole entire week. It just makes my week when I get to read and respond to all of your comments. I love chatting with y'all. Okay, friends, that's it for today. Come back and see me again next week. We are going to be working on some fun spring sewing projects. So I will see you all again next week. Until then, y'all take care, and I will see you soon. Bye. Oh, now it's crooked. It's gotta go this way. Okay. Cues? I need some cues. P-tool. Oh, P-tool. It's XTool. Oh, I am so cold. I don't think I can feel my hands. It's so cold out here. I think my brain is frozen. I can't think anymore. I think we need to build a shop with heat. And that's a wrap.
Thank you, XTool, for sponsoring today's episode. We are loving our M1 laser cutting machine.